Well, welcome to the Folsom City Lifestyle Podcast. Judging by the pre-show, this is not going to be entertaining at all. I think we've been laughing for 20 minutes straight. I have Danny O'Neill, founder of Warfighter Overwatch, owner of Kinetic Inc. and Kinetic Threads, and DK, resident of Folsom, and we'll get into a little bit of what you do and what your background is, but we wanted to talk about all things military and Warfighter Overwatch and how you contribute to our community and all the fun things. So let's get started with you, Danny. Tell me a little bit about you
Sure.
and your background.
Thanks for having me on. I was born and raised right here in Northern California. I was born in Stockton. I graduated high school from Grant in Sacramento. It's over in Del Paso Heights. It's a tough area. And I was working for a highway construction company for a little over a year. I was in the Bay Area. And 9/11 happened, and that kind of changed the direction of my life. I quit my job that day and signed up for the Army.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wait,
But I missed home, though, so I came back.
is Stockton, Northern California? I thought it was down south.
It's like 15 minutes. So I'm an expert in map reading and land navigation because of the job that I chose.
Yeah.
And he was a surveyor, and so he'll explain what that is, but because no one really knows.
Yeah. No one. All right. What's a surveyor, DK?
I'm better at him. I'm just better than him.
Okay.
That's what that means.
All right.
Taller doesn't mean better.
Yeah.
Oh. Fair. So what does a surveyor do?
Yeah.
Maps, land navigation, everything to do with maps.
Damn it.
Plotting grids, giving directions, better than fisters.
Knowing the difference in north and south,
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah. Sounds that way.
I mean,
Never eat soggy wheat, isn't it? Northeast, southwest. They don't teach you guys acronyms as civilians?
No.
Oh, we have. I got to delete them. But being in the military, I think it gave me, number one, a secondary family, right? These people that I could count on through good times and bad. They hold you accountable. And I learned values when I joined the Army that I don't think I had prior. And so that definitely, I think definitely helped further on down the road, especially as a dad now and a business owner. I think that's super important.
I mean, it's incredible. 9/11 impacted so many people in so many ways, and it's impressive that it just called you to serve, right? You're like, take this. I'm going to do something about it. That's super impressive. DK, tell me a little bit about your background outside of being a surveyor.
okay, I'm originally from the Caribbean, a little island called St. Vincent. I moved up here like 1998, and then I kind of joined the military like right after I moved up here. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Danny. Yeah. So I joined the military a little bit after because I was more patriotic. I wanted to serve the country before anything happened. Like nothing happened when I joined the military. I was just wanting to serve the country that I became a part of. Funny fact, which is not so funny, I was in New York when 9/11 happened.
Wow.
Oh my.
So like I thought it was a TV show at first because my mom came in and she woke me up. She was like, "Hey, there's something on TV you might want to look at." And I was like, "What?" So I turned on the TV and I thought it was a movie playing until I went out on the roof and I look and I could see the smoke coming from Manhattan. And I was like, oh. But by that time, everything was shut down. You couldn't get across the bridge. You couldn't get through the train station. So there was nothing I could do at that point but except to look and just pay attention. Was in the military when 9/11 happened. I joined the military as a field artillery surveyor. So just like Danny says, just give out a lot of grids and be very good with calculation because you have to calculate a lot of different things to plot the grid so the artilleries can shoot. A little bit after that, I transitioned and went to try for Special Forces. Made it my first time all the way through, one time go, and then started doing that for a living for a while. And then I'm shorting this up a little bit.
No. Love it.
No. So I did that for a few years, deployed a few places, done a few things.
I think it's funny because I think based on just a visual perception, I don't think people would think that you and I are good at math. And on
I know, right?
quite the contrary, we're pretty good at math. Yeah.
I mean,
Never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Definitely never. I mean, as special forces, your mind is more important than anything else.
Absolutely.
So, you know, like for us, you have to be good at everything. You have to learn how to speak different languages, learn how to do jobs. I guess talk to ambassadors, governors, and different people. So you have to be articulate sometimes in what you say to certain people, and be able to present yourself and present the subject matter that you're speaking about very well. So, well, as I said, I did that for a few years, and then took a outsock assignment and started teaching at UC Davis and Sac State. So I was the senior military instructor for both schools. Did that for a few years, and then got a divorce. And got a divorce and decided that I'm not going to leave my kids here, and stayed in Folsom with my kids so I can see my kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I ended up in Folsom.
Very cool. And Deborah, we know you.
Yeah.
But military tie-ins, children, right?
Yeah. My oldest son, actually, thanks to Danny, is in the Army. He is a wheeled vehicle mechanic.
Gotcha.
And then my middle son just graduated high school, and he's headed off to the Air Force. Also thanks to one of Danny's guys, Dan Lowry.
Did you send him to the chair force?
No.
Dan Lowry sent him to the chair force.
Dan told them it was smarter and then they pay those guys more because they fly around the president.
That is definitely
It's true. They have a lot of
That's true.
benefits. So like deployment for us, like a lot of times you're living out in, the woods or on a cot or on the ground. And like the Air Force, like, so our problems are different, right? We get mortared or bombed. And like in the Air Force, their problems, like if they have an issue, they just go down to the front desk and tell them that the Wi-Fi is out. Those are serious problems. That's not funny. Those are serious issues Mike's going to be dealing with. Listen, I'm super grateful that we
consider
had.
that a serious issue.
It is. But I feel super lucky because, number one, not only did we meet Deborah during that time, but her kids were much younger. And when essentially what happened was I lost 9 guys on my second trip. I wear dog tags with their names every day of my life. They get me out of bed, right? And so I'm lucky to be alive. I know that. And we've had 15 suicides since I've come home.
Goodness gracious.
And I was almost one of them. So we had a reunion. One of my snipers, Adam Smith, he's from Ohio. And if you can tell how much I love this man, I went to Ohio, right? And I don't even like Ohio a lot. If you've ever been there, it's a horrible place. Corn is good, but like enough.
Yeah.
So I went there and we buried him, and I felt bad. I saw a bunch of my brothers that I hadn't seen in a while, and it was like we should have all met up a month ago before Adam did this. That would have been more impactful. So I came home, and that led to us having a reunion here in Folsom. I just said, there's never going to be a perfect time and place. Let's bring everyone here. And my wife was like, sweet. So I invited like 30 guys from my battalion. Well, I invited several hundred, and we got 30 something guys that showed up. And we ended up having this big breakfast for the guys who were still there that they were leaving. And that's when, at least like my double amputee, Shane, met her kids. And I think the impact, you could see the brotherhood, the reunion really brought out the fact that we missed each other, because it's not something you really talk about. And so obviously that led 2 of her kids are now going to be in the military. And I know that's a scary situation, but it's also a lot of pride, right?
Huge amounts of pride.
Yeah.
So much pride. I've had a lot of people ask me, like, oh, aren't you scared or aren't you upset? And this was Charlie's dream. Charlie is literally living his dream every single day. And would I rather him be in Folsom where I can go bug him? Totally. But he's living his dream, and I would rather have him do that than have him be, a banker or a mechanic here and be miserable. He loves what he's doing.
And having that support from your family while you're in another state, away from everything in another country, it really is, the difference in being successful or not. Because soldiers don't fight because of what they hate, right? They fight for what they love. And so when your family, your hometown, when you have that support, it makes doing the job much easier.
It's definitely paramount.
Yeah.
It makes everything just go by a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
When your family supports you, your friend supports you. And when you have your brothers supporting your back also, it just makes everything a little bit easier.
Well, it does seem to be a massive community. So I am not of military background. I don't have any family in the military, immediate family. But once I started talking to Deborah and started talking to Danny and Fawn, and I'm starting to realize that here in Folsom, there's a huge amount of military pride and military presence, and I am eternally grateful for it. Thank you for your service. But, you know, it is this, you say brotherhood. It's incredible. I'm getting goosebumps, but it is, you know, it's really, really powerful. And so Warfighter Overwatch was founded when?
So we got our nonprofit status actually on Fawn and I's anniversary day in November of 2020.
Did you do that so it's easy to remember?
The state did that because it took them a while.
Oh.
They're a government agency. So if you've been to the DMV, you understand. But when we had, sorry, when Fawn decided she wanted us to start our own nonprofit and impact our community here at home, I'm a good husband sometimes. So I'm like, yeah, babe, let's do this. And I didn't really understand what that necessarily meant for us, the commitment and everything, but it has been the most rewarding thing I've done outside of the military and being a dad. I can't explain like what it means to, number one, see that support from strangers that you didn't know. It reminds you there's good people in the world and they really care. And I think that being here in Folsom, you hear so much stuff about California and all, especially like I have military friends, family all over the country, right? And they punch on us all the time. They talk a lot of crap about California. But when you come from a place like Folsom and you see how much the community supports you, it's second to none. Absolutely incredible. And they've showed up and supported our mission from the beginning. So in the first several months, we were actually just getting our programs in order and trying to get our board set up because we didn't know what kind of financial support we were going to get. And then the bombing in Kabul happened when we were leaving Afghanistan. And so that was August 26th.
21.
August 21st, yeah. 2021, right? And so one of our local heroes, Nicolgi, was killed during that suicide attack. And, you know, there was 13 service members killed that day. She's from Roseville. And then the most catastrophically injured survivor is Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews. He's in the Marine Corps. He's from Folsom. And you know, we raised like $100,000 that Fawn put together a gala in 2 weeks and said, we need to help this family. Oh, she's unbelievable. And so the support that we got to give their family, it showed them exactly what you're talking about, exactly what Folsom is all about.
So for those that may be listening that don't know what Warfighter Overwatch's mission is, can you explain that? Yeah,
so we just want to build camaraderie through various programs. Every program that we have started was based on a need that we saw, whether it was with our first responders and the firefighters or police agencies or within our military family. So everything has to do with mental health. At the end of the day, I will pay for these guys to go to therapy if they can't afford it. If their employee assistance program, their EAP, doesn't cover a specific specialty doctor, we'll cover that. If they need to go to inpatient treatment and only so much of it is covered, we'll cover that. But the rest of them are all about focusing on their mental health prior to a crisis, right? So getting that community support, because we got to have a support system. If we try to do these things on our own, we fail. So this was about, number one, showing that there is a support system, who they are, who you talk to when you need this help. Because I was afraid to go to my chain of command when I started having mental health issues. I was afraid I had a security clearance. I was afraid that this thing was going to impact my career, my job. And at the end of the day, it did. When I got hurt and they said, you know, you're not good, you need to go home. And I was like, well, I didn't really want to do that. But we make it okay. If you don't want to tell your chain of command that you're struggling because, you know, you pulled a dead kid out of a pool that was, you know, that drowned and you worked on and couldn't save him, or a car accident. And listen, when it's adults, it's easier to compartmentalize. When a kid is involved, it changes the dynamic of that scenario. So it sticks with you longer and in different ways. Well, they don't teach you how to do that stuff. And the old school way was drinking. And that led to people, you know, having marital problems at home, getting DUIs, all these things. So essentially, we go on hikes. We have a hike. We have a Valhalla hike every year. You have to train because I'm broke too. I don't want to. Yeah, he's not rucking. He doesn't want to hike. But we take these guys. This year, we're going to go up to Half Dome in Yosemite. It's a bucket list hike. It's one of the most beautiful things on earth. You're going to have to carry a heavy backpack up there and sleep out in the woods. And he doesn't want to do that anymore.
No.
But
there's a nice resort in Yosemite.
But I love it because when you push yourself physically, it helps reduce your cortisol, your stress levels. It helps give you some of those feel-good chemical releases that help us bond with each other, some mutual suffering involved. And it just, again, it makes you feel that you're not alone or isolated. People have been through similar experiences.
I love that. So people that are listening that may be inspired to help, what do they do?
Oh, go to warfighter.overwatch.org. You can follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook to keep up with our events. Come out and volunteer. See what we do. Yesterday was our annual Swing Against Suicide golf tournament. We had a great time. We, raised a bunch of money, and every single dime that we raise at Warfighter Overwatch goes to our programs. Nobody takes a dime. We're all volunteers, and that's because we care about this mission, right? 15 of my friends committed suicide. When I was a freshman in high school, I walked in on my dad getting ready to commit suicide. He's a Vietnam vet. I'm lucky he's still here. My grandfather, his dad's a World War II vet. He did commit suicide when my dad got sent to Vietnam. He's buried in the Golden Gate National Cemetery. I never heard his stories. And almost everybody I served with in the military was, my grandfather's my hero. He's in World War II. Well, mine was too, but I didn't get to hear it. I didn't get to see him or talk to him. And that was something that my dad felt guilt and shame about too, right? And so he didn't want to discuss that. And I thought, how terrible that when my dad came home from Vietnam, he felt so alone. His dad had killed himself, and now he's trying to figure out where to put this, and they spit on him and call him baby killer. Well, I didn't have to deal with that. I had support from my community, but I was terrified to ask for it. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to convey is that asking for help doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. And, if I would have went to war by myself, if I'd have showed up in Baghdad by myself, I'd have been killed pretty quickly. But I had a team with me and support in my worst days. And so I didn't fight my battles there alone, and I don't fight them back here alone. I use my support system.
That's incredible. That's incredible. DK, he's gotten all the airtime.
That's good.
He don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind.
How did you two connect?
Oh, the tattoo shop.
No, chair.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. So his daughter and my daughters are cheerleaders, and they were at the Folsom Junior program back then, high school now. My oldest just graduated. She's going to go to Boise State. But he was at cheer, and then he had a sticker for Kinetic Inc tattoo on his truck. And I was like, hey, where'd you get that sticker at? And he was like, well, I got it from, there's another guy named DK, Dave King, who's a Sacramento firefighter. He started Kinetic Inc in Rockland initially. He was a ranger in 2nd Ranger Battalion, and I bought the shop from him. And then we started our friendship from there. And then, yeah.
Ever since.
Yep.
Just been rainbows and unicorns ever since.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Tell me about Kinetic Inc and Kinetic Threads, a tattoo shop.
Yeah, it's a hub for our community. I think that was the biggest reason I bought it. Dave said he was getting busy, and I was like, this thing is special, right? It's a special place. So first off, a portion of every tattoo that gets done at Kinetic Inc Tattoo goes to help fund Warfighter Overwatch. It's not just for first responders and military folks. We tattoo anyone, but we give them discounts so they come there, because we want them to feel like it's a place for them. And yeah, my whole back is done. I have a lot of tattoos, obviously.
Nice.
My mom probably didn't approve of my neck tattoo, but, it takes care of her grandkids, so there's that. It's a special place. I don't have pictures of, like, naked ladies on the walls. I have pictures of my friends who were killed, and I have pictures of local heroes who gave their lives in the line of duty. I tell their stories. I say their names. I want people to understand freedom isn't free, and these people are the ones who give it to us, right? They gave up all of their tomorrows for our today. So you get top tier tattoos, and you get to be in a place that's special, especially for like police officers. Their tattoo shops were always, especially 20, 30 years ago, they were known for drug havens or drug addicts and all that kind of stuff. Ours is the complete opposite of that, 180, right? So the people who come in there are high value individuals. They have values and things, and not only that, but you can come in there and we call it ink therapy, but essentially you can talk to someone. Like my apprentice was a medic in the Army. At any time, you'll come in there and you'll have a Green Beret sitting in a chair, or a detective, or a captain or engineer with the fire department. You have no idea who's going to be in there. And so that part I love, especially coming to work. But they're special places. And so Kinetic Threads is our T-shirt printing company. We have custom things that we do over there. It's just another way of us providing a service for the community and helping connect, especially with other businesses, business owners. They need a new logo or something. Yep. Well, I got tattoo artists that can help with that too. We can do all kinds of cool things.
I love that, and this is giving me ideas, actually, Deborah, for our style issue.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can put some of that art on the cover.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that makes sense.
I love
We'll
that.
talk about that.
You got it.
Yeah. What about you, sister?
How would you two feel if any of your children decided to go military? I know none of yours have decided so far.
For me, it would be just guiding them in the right direction. Because a lot of people are confused. They just think the military is one dimension, killing people
Right.
or fighting. But the military is like this huge organization. They have medics, they have firefighters, they have dentists, they have all different jobs, mechanics that people don't really take into consideration. And then you have the different branches inside of the military that you can choose from, even the Coast Guard.
Even the coasties.
Even the coasties. But you have all these dimensions that you can choose from. So if my daughters decide that they want to join the military, it would be guiding them in the best direction to be the best future possible for them.
You have 3 daughters?
No, 2 daughters and a son.
Oh, okay.
I do have 3 daughters.
I know you do.
Yeah, and
But you have the boys to also like.
How many children do you have?
20.
no, I have 4 kids.
No,
I
he's
have
lying.
6.
3. Well, okay, so technically,
Dang.
I have 6. I have 2 biological daughters with my ex-wife, but they don't live with me every day. And then I have 3 teenage daughters that live with me every day, and a teenage son. So they're
So you're broke.
And Chris.
well, and my girls do cheerleading and competitive cheerleading, so I have no money. That's
And
correct.
track.
Yeah,
no
none.
money. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and track.
The boys
so-
do track.
and they're going to college now, so it's gotten more expensive. And they haven't even showed up for day 1 yet, and it's costing me money. But the good news is, my kid's going to a Division I school. I feel so lucky and blessed. Like I've already bought season tickets, so I can go up there and hang out because mom is not doing well with this, right? It's like you know, it's different.
I'm
And
dreading that day.
it's terrifying.
hard.
It is. But like Deborah was saying, you got to let them spread their wings, right?
Yep.
Like we have brought them to a point where I know that you're number one going to make good choices, right? So I don't have to necessarily worry about you screwing your life up. You've gotten yourself to this point. Our guidance, but you had to do the work. And then now, seeing them blossom, seeing her thrive, and knowing that she's going to go do that even more, it does make, my heart happy. So for all the things that I've dealt with, like my youngest is 14, so she was a micro preemie, born 1 pound, 1 ounce at 23 weeks. She had 2 open heart surgeries, feeding tube till she was 3. We call her the honey badger, though. She runs the house, right?
Yeah, she does.
And she wants to be like them. Everything, I want to go to college and go do this and that. And I'm like, man, can we just slow down a little bit? But she has shown me that, even at 2 years old, she was showing us how tough we really are. Like what's inside of you is greater than what's in front of you. No matter what adversity you face, you can overcome it. Yeah. I learned that from my kid, not from some cool guy with a machine gun. I learned that from a 2-year-old. So, yeah.
Okay, Danny, you're making me cry.
Not bad.
I can't. I'm really impressed by you and your family. I really am. I'm so glad you're here. I didn't know all of this.
Fawn is the one who does like everything.
There is
The
a reason
two
we
of
put
you
her on our women's
together.
issue.
Yeah, and the 2 of you together are just this magic recipe that I've gotten to see good days, bad days, and everything in between with how long I've known you guys. And you guys are just a testament to how to be.
Yeah,
I
it's
appreciate
unbelievable.
that.
I have tears in my eyes right now. But I love that you hit on that we sometimes learn from our children. And, our goal, I was talking to somebody yesterday, another partner, and we were talking about children. And, we can't control how smart they are. We can't control how athletic they are, no matter how much we want. But we can control what kind of human being they become. And you can ask my son what I have control over. And he will tell you that I control how good of a person he is and how good of a man he is. And I just love those values. I think it's so important in the next generation.
Well, I've told my kids, like, we're not always going to be the strongest person in the room. We're not always going to be... We're not always going to be the smartest person in the room, but we can always be the hardest worker, right? And that's something that I told you can always be the hardest worker in that room, no matter what. So, like, for example, I'm here working right now and somebody else is not. They cut out from work. So you can always be... the hardest worker in the room. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you're just getting thrown under the bus.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't realize you were still sitting there, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just kidding.
You just sit there quietly and let him do his thing. That's friendship right there.
He knows I'm parked outside. He's following me. I don't run very fast anymore.
He can't run fast.
No?
Nah, I just kick his little legs.
True.
Pick him up like a potato sack.
You know what, though? Having friends like DK that you can count, because, like, it's hard. Let's say I have an anniversary of one of the guys on my dog tags, right? And I'm not doing good. That day's bothering me, and if I need someone to talk to, it's like, I can call him or message him, and I don't even have to talk about that. I can talk about something else, and it makes me feel better. Like, I don't have to go through this alone. And so when you have those moments of weakness, that's when you really lean on that support system. And I think that's what Warfighter Overwatch is all about, is building that up for people to utilize when they're struggling, because I don't want people committing suicide anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like for me, there's not many Green Berets over here, especially in Folsom. There's a few, but then there are the older generations, not my generation. So having someone to talk to, like Danny, or reaching out to some of my other friends like Brandon, it's key, because we go through things that no one else has been through except for us, and things you've seen, things you've dealt with. And it's hard to relate that stuff to someone that's never been in that position or never done anything that you've done. And the day-to-day grind it hurts sometimes, not being able to relate and not being able to talk to someone. So just like Warfighter Overwatch and Danny and Fawn, I can reach out to any one of them and just talk. As Danny said, I don't have to say what's on my mind, just talk. And it just calms you down sometimes.
Yeah.
We call Fawn the grunt whisperer, because like these guys, these total badasses who have, done amazing things. They were jumping out of planes, 19 years old, getting in gunfights. And they don't really, like, okay, now you work at, Kinko's or Walmart. Like, it's hard to relate to Jim, who's, 20 years old, stocking shelves with you. And you're like, but you don't, and I'm not trying to knock people who are stocking shelves.
No.
It's just different for that person, because some days have this baggage that he doesn't know where to put, right? He can't just put it on a shelf and come back to it when he needs it. And so when they become intrusive thoughts, when they become, debilitating, when they're starting to impact your daily life and the way you do things and how you speak to other people or react to situations, it can feel overwhelming. But the moment you have someone else, you're like, I'm not overwhelmed. I can chill out. And it's grounding. It really is. And it makes you feel human again.
Yeah. I get a hug from her every time I see her, because I need it usually driving here in California.
Especially in Folsom.
Yeah, driving is a big issue.
Yeah?
Well,
Yeah.
I came from Atlanta, and this is nothing.
It is so horrible there.
This is nothing.
I just want to push people out of the way as soon as
Yeah.
I start driving. Like,
Yeah.
I have a truck, so I just want to be like,
Roll them over.
I'm tempted.
Just nudge them out of the way a little bit.
Well, we did an event. So the very first airborne guys in the military, like the World War II guys that were jumping out of planes, well, they trained them out in a mountain in Georgia. And so we went up there, and they used to go run 3 miles up, 3 miles. The Band of Brothers guys did this stuff. So I took a group who went to Iraq from that unit. They're, my age. And we went and did the 3 miles up, 3 miles back. But we flew into Atlanta, and I was just like...
It's a lot.
I remember, I wish I had a track vehicle right now where I could just run these people over, and because we're only going 17 miles. There's no reason it should take me 99 minutes right now.
Yep. We've got family there. It's just getting worse.
Worse. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of folks from here moving out to Georgia, too, which doesn't make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my recommendation to those people at home who want to leave California is change your license plates, register it somewhere else, and then move, so they don't know. Lie about where you're from. Nevada's a good one. They don't care if you're from Nevada.
Yeah.
Nah, we just need to
good
change
advice.
California. Make it better.
Stay and fight.
Yeah. What would you do?
You really want to know that?
Absolutely.
It's a family show.
Yeah, I can't tell you that.
Okay.
No, but there's a lot of policies that need to be changed in California to make it better for everyone. I mean, like, why are we taxed the most of any state in California? Everything is produced here. We're what? The
Fifth largest, economy in the world.
And,
That's what they tell me anyways.
And what? And we're still suffering? We're still suffering? Come
Yeah.
on. I mean, look at San Francisco right now. Look at the state of San Francisco. You can't tell me we can't change something, right? We can't change anything. Who's been in power in California for the last 10, let's go 10 years.
Yeah.
We have one party that's been in charge of California for the last 10 years, and there's no change. It's just got worse.
Well, there's been a change. Yeah, you can't. It's been worse, right?
It's
So you
just
can't
got
afford to
worse.
buy a house. You can't afford. So that bothers me as a dad, right? Because my kids can't afford to buy a home here. They could work their whole lives and not be able to. And I don't know how. Like when I was 18 years old and I was living on my own and I had to pay rent.
Exactly.
I had a job that I could afford to pay my rent,
Yeah.
right? And granted, I had a decent job. You know, I was making, I think, $12 an hour back then. And minimum wage, I think, was like $5.75 or something like that at the point. So I had a good job. I didn't start that high. I started at like $8.50 and earned that. But I'm terrified for them, right? And so when you're paying $5 a gallon for gas, how are you supposed to afford food? How are you supposed to, and you got to go to work so you can afford to pay the bills. It's, that part is scary. And so there are things that I wish that our leadership would kind of listen to the constituents a little more, but I know, like you were talking earlier, I can only control what I can control. So I got to set my kids up for success. I need them to understand that your financial decisions are very important. So what I want to do is set you up before you're an adult and have a credit score and do some of these things. Luckily for us, like USAA, they help us out, right? Because we're veterans. So I got my kid a credit card that, you know, you use your gas on that card and we pay it off at the end of each month. And like, you know, small things that can help prepare them. And so, you know, even small investing, you can use some of these apps and invest little bits of money instead of having a $10,000 initial buy-in or whatever.
Yep.
And teaching them these things that we weren't taught as kids, because I think it's vital, especially in today's economy. It's important.
It really is. I have a 13-year-old, and he doesn't have a credit card yet, but he has a green light account. And so every time he gets his allowance, a portion of it is saved automatically.
Yep.
A portion of it is donate, you know, goes into a donate bucket, and then he can spend the other portion. So every week, you know, he knows that he's saving some, he's donating some to a charity, and, you know, he can spend some. So, you know, it's really important to teach them those skills.
Financial literacy.
Yeah, what you're doing as a parent is, it's so vital for like their success as adults, and teaching them that it's important at a young, like this is a priority, right? We're focusing on this because it's important. And so like they know the difference, right? Did I spend a lot of time teaching you how to wash the dishes? No. Did grandma come in here and say, that's not how you do it? Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
I had to deal with that too. You're welcome. So, so now they understand, like, we spend time on this because it's important, right? This is something I need you to know. I need you to know how to check your oil, change a tire. I need you to figure out some of these things. I need you to know how to make sure that financially you're going to be okay. If things go sideways for a couple months, you're going to be okay.
Yep. Yep, I agree.
I think that's part of some of the leadership stuff they teach you in the military, right?
I mean, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of that comes from the military leadership, and you know, you were talking about all the other branches and jobs you can do in the military. A young lady we had on the podcast last week, she was in public affairs for the military, and so you don't realize that all these jobs people do on a day-to-day basis behind the scenes, and you're still getting all the benefits of being, you know, in the military and a part of something bigger than yourself.
Was that Mackenzie?
It was.
Yes.
Yeah. She's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
We had her on here last week, and her knowledge and her passion for building a brand was incredible. The number of business owners and people in the community that I have met in this journey that is Folsom City Lifestyle has moved me so much. I have so much respect for people that I never would have met otherwise. And I love, you know, in the magazine, bringing light to some of those causes and some of those, you know, people. And it's unbelievable. It's very humbling.
I agree. I feel lucky to raise the kids here and have my family, you know, live here in this community. It really is a special, like, a lot of people who don't know where we live, like having the Sierra Nevadas right here and the ocean right here, like, it is, I know that DK, you do have to, you know, drive past the homeless folks, but eventually there's somewhere nice on the other side.
Yeah.
And
You can ski and golf in the same day.
100%.
Yeah.
Surf.
There you go.
Yeah.
Surfing.
An hour and a half from wine country. I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing place to live. What's your favorite restaurant in Folsom?
My kitchen.
Your kitchen. Oh, you're a chef too.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your specialty?
I like curry chicken. I love making pasta Alfredo from scratch.
Okay, so we're coming over.
Delightful. I'll bring the wine.
If I'm eating out, my favorite place is Visconti's. Yeah, you're probably going to hear that a
Visconti's
lot.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do hear that a lot.
I think, well, so there's a couple reasons why, right? It's definitely like a feels like a home cooked meal.
It does.
My dad's Irish and Italian, and my mom's Mexican. So food is always like been a huge part of my life. It's where everyone gathers, right? So we like every night as a family, we eat dinner together every night. I don't care what your cheer schedule is. I don't care what your running schedule is. We're all going to sit down and eat dinner, even if it's not till like 8:45, because that's when you get home from practice. But I think. So like I think it was a couple weeks ago was like International Burger Day or whatever, and the best place was in my backyard on that grill, right? And so I agree with
Love
that.
it.
Yeah,
Danny throws down on the grill.
I do.
Okay, so I'm coming over there too.
Deal.
Yeah, deal. Best happy hour spot. If you're going somewhere in the afternoon to grab a beer, where are we going?
Danny's house.
Danny's again. Nice.
I think Sutter Street's probably a great place. You can
Yeah.
go almost anywhere down there. It's having an old part of Folsom, I think it's special for any it just gives you that hometown feel. It really does. It's
Yeah.
classic, America.
It does. Even my daughter likes going down there, hang out every once in a while. And she's 16, and it's safe enough for her to just go down there
Yep.
Absolutely.
and just relax.
Absolutely.
So it's awesome.
Best Folsom community event.
Veterans Day Parade for me. I mean, that's like one of the biggest things around here at that time.
Well, I don't want to. Man, we actually won with the best float one year. My
Yeah.
kids did, so I'm definitely partial. But having the rodeo here is pretty cool. And I'm not
Yeah.
even a big rodeo dude, but I got to tell you, it is a lot of fun. And if you've ever watched the kids do the little mutton racing, it is the cutest,
thing.
Yeah. So, and we did a huge welcome home thing for Tyler Vargas Andrews.
Yep. I was there, yeah.
We shut down our tattoo shop, tattooed him and the guys from his unit, including one of the corpsmen that was there and helped save his life. And that was probably my most special day or night as a business owner. But for our tattoo shop's right across the street from where they have the rodeo, so we get to see all the craziness. It's fun.
Yeah, I was at the rodeo when they did a presentation for Tyler. It was very, very touching. The rodeo is one of my favorites. The parades, we're sponsoring the hometown parade in a
Nice.
couple weeks, so we're
Yeah.
excited about that. And the new one, I don't know if you've seen it. We've talked about this a couple podcasts ago. The new dragon boat races that Powerhouse Ministries does.
I did see that, yeah.
We had a boat. It was
so much
so much fun. And they're coming back next year. They already have their date. You guys should have a boat in that. It is so
Do
fun.
it.
I'm pretty sure. Isn't that how you got here? Like
I
on
mean,
a little.
I swam.
You swam.
Yeah, I swam.
We used a tire. You just float across the river in a tire.
Island hop.
Island.
Island hop. I swam from one island to another one, stop, take a break, and then swam to another one, and then I reached to Florida.
And the bomba
and
caught
then-
big wave.
And then I ran from Florida to New York.
Man, that's cold. Well, the water's warm though, isn't it?
No, I just ran.
No.
I
Oh, you just ran. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
Yeah, I just ran. I mean, look at these legs. I just ran.
They are magical. The camera doesn't show them, but they are.
All right, we'll finish this up. What is the best piece of advice you would give to a teenager these days?
Stay the course. What's inside of you is greater than what's in front of you. I said it earlier, but no matter what adversity you face in life, you can overcome it. I promise.
Perfect. DK?
For me, I told my daughter this: just try. Don't care if you fail. Just try. Regardless of the outcome, it'll hurt more if you don't try than anything else. Give it your all, even if you fail. Get up and try again. That's it. Just try.
I love that. Deborah, what you got?
Stay true to you, no matter what your peers or outside influences are telling you. It's never cool to be the guy that says, no, we shouldn't do that, but it is cool to be the only guy left living after everybody else jumped off the bridge.
Yep.
That's a good point.
How about you?
Very powerful. I would say focus on your attitude and effort 100% of the time. That's what we preach a lot at home.
Yeah.
It's, again, back to the control what you can control. Things happen around you, and a lot of times they aren't good. And you just control what you can control and make the best of every situation.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Well, thanks for
Thanks
coming.
for being
I
here.
am so proud to have you in the community as a business owner, as residents, just as human beings. I'm so touched by your discussion today. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
You got it.
Thanks, DK.
You're welcome, bro. I see that, people.
3, 2, 1, action.